Government shutdown live updates as Senate plans vote on GOP funding bill before deadline. 19 minutes ago, CBO estimates 750,000 employees could be furloughed in shutdown, costing $400 million a day. The Congressional Budget Office estimated on Tuesday that about 750,000 federal employees could be furloughed under a government shutdown, and the total daily cost of their compensation would be around $400 million. Furloughed employees receive back pay at the end of shutdowns. The analysis came in a letter to Senator Joni Ernst, an Iowa Republican, who requested the figures. CBO noted that the number of furloughed employees could vary by the day, due to some agencies opting to furlough more employees if a shutdown drags on, while others could bring back employees who were initially furloughed. CBO noted that the effects of a shutdown depend on its duration and on an administration's decisions about how to proceed. The letter cited the OMB memo sent to federal agencies last week, telling them to consider reduction in force notices or layoffs. The Budget Office said a reduction in the number of federal employees would reduce the daily cost of compensation for furloughed workers. The administration could also use funds from the One Big, Beautiful Bill Act to continue activities at various agencies where the funds have been appropriated, the Budget Office said, including the Defense Department, Treasury, Homeland Security, and the Office of Management and Budget. The Budget Office said the effects of a shutdown on the economy would depend on its extent and duration, noting that the shutdown that lasted from December 2018 until January 2019 caused a permanent loss of about $3 billion. 32 minutes ago, Republican refuses to recognize House Democrats' request for unanimous consent. Representative Rosa DeLauro of Connecticut, the top Democrat on the House Appropriations Committee, was expected to ask for unanimous consent to pass Democrats' counter-proposal to avert a shutdown during a short pro forma session in the House, attended by dozens of Democrats. But the presiding Republican, Representative Morgan Griffith of Virginia, declined to recognize DeLauro and gavelled out. It led to loud protests from Democrats, who yelled, "Shame on you," and "Do your job." Pro forma sessions, which take place when the House is on recess, are usually sparsely attended and only last a few minutes. Democrats' bill, which has not received a vote in the House and failed in the Senate, would keep the government funded until October 31st and would permanently extend enhanced tax credits for Americans who purchase health care through the Affordable Care Act marketplaces. It would also roll back cuts to Medicaid that were part of Mr. Trump's big, beautiful bill passed earlier this year and restore funding for public radio and TV stations that was cut earlier this year in a rescissions package. 11:32 a.m. Why ACA tax credits for 22 million Americans are at the center of the shutdown drama. A possible shutdown on Wednesday could hinge on a deal to maintain a tax credit that helps 22 million Americans lower their health insurance costs when they buy policies through the Affordable Care Act's marketplaces, known as the Enhanced Premium Tax Credit. The subsidy has been used by millions of low- and middle-class households since it was authorized under the American Rescue Plan Act in 2021. Since then, spurred by the tax credit, the number of people who have enrolled in ACA marketplace health insurance plans has almost doubled, according https://affordablecare.act/a look at ACA coverage through the marketplaces and Medicaid expansion ahead of potential policy changes to healthcare publication KFF. But it is set to expire at the end of 2025, and leading Democratic lawmakers are making a funding deal to keep the government open contingent on Republicans agreeing to extend the credit. Even as the outcome of the funding negotiations in Washington, D.C. remains uncertain, expiration of the premium health care credits could inflict financial pain on millions of Americans. Experts told CBS News insurers are already preparing to send notices to households that they will see increases starting in January 2026, said Alex Jacquez, Chief of Policy at Groundwork Collaborative, a liberal economic advocacy group and a White House economic official under former President Joe Biden, on a conference call Friday to discuss the tax credit. Read more here, https://www.cbs News, Affordable Care Act, Enhanced Premium Tax Credit. 11:25 a.m. Durbin says White House meeting was an opportunity that was missed. Senator Dick Durbin, an Illinois Democrat, told reporters that Monday's meeting at the White House was an opportunity that was missed. The gathering in the White House was a chance for the legislative leaders, with the president, to avoid a government shutdown, and there wasn't any follow-up whatsoever. Durbin, the number 2 Senate Democrat, voted in March to advance a measure to keep the government funded. He told reporters, "I don't think so," when asked whether he would do the same this time around. Durbin said he asked Schumer when the next meeting on government funding will be with leaders. He said Schumer told him there's no meeting scheduled that he knows of.